leader of an organization, how are you not close with the stars of the organization? And the dilemma right now in the WNBA is that the star players, the Asias, the Stewies, the Sabrinas, the Caitlin Clarks, they don't have a good enough relationship with the leader. The Napheesas, they don't have a good enough relationship with Cathy Engelbert. She came in and she wants all the credit for everything, but there's not enough communication between the leader and between the players. And now you got to revolt. Now everybody in the W is like, hold on, we want you up out of there. But I think the best thing I heard is, how can you negotiate if you don't communicate? And the dilemma is there's not even a negotiation, a quality negotiation right now between the players and between the W, because there's not quality communication right now between the players and between the executives for the.
There's a sentence hanging over the W right now. It isn't on a banner or in a hype reel. It lives in a private conversation Napheesa Collier says happened with the commissioner. Her claim? Players should be on their knees, thanking the league for the media deal. Only losers complain about refs. And Caitlin Clark should be grateful because her off-court money exists thanks to the WNBA platform. That isn't a minor PR scuff. That's gasoline near a spotlight. Cathy Engelbert denies using those words and says there are inaccuracies, adding that she needs to do better. Now everyone else is stuck between a denial and a megaphone, and the room keeps getting louder. But a spark only matters if the building's already dry. The internet loves a clean ending. The commissioner was fired. It sounds decisive. It sounds cinematic. It spreads. But when you strip out the thumbnails and the caps lock, the verified picture is Messier. No credible confirmation that the commissioner was removed, even as rumor loops claim some top-down intervention. The league pushes back. The narrative keeps breathing. That's the internet tax. Corrections travel. They just travel slower. If the headline is noisy, the timeline is noisier. So rewind the tape.
You need to resign. Period. Reason I say that, doggy, is because when a player, any player, but especially one of that magnitude, attacks you publicly like that, that weak-ass statement Commissioner Engelbert gave is not good enough. And I'm going to say it. It was a weak-ass statement. Could you imagine somebody directing comments and criticisms at you, taking conversations they've had with you directly and telling the world what you said? And did you see that statement Commissioner Engelbert gave? She basically provided no defense of herself. I don't have the statement right directly in front of me, y'all.
Mischaracterization.
A mischaracterization.
She was disheartened.
I'm disheartened that the mischaracterization.
Leagues don't break in public. They break in private first. The ugliest clue isn't a tweet. It's a canceled meeting. The sit-down that was supposed to cool tempers and clarify quotes. When the conversation shifts from the conference room to the comment section, you don't control the frame anymore. And once players feel unheard, they stop asking quietly. Which is why the next chapter didn't happen at a podium. It happened under the basket. Officiating turned a long simmer into a rolling boil. Cheryl Reeve vented and walked out with a suspension and a 5-figure fine. The kind of number that tells everyone else, careful. Stephanie White spoke and got hit. Becky Hammond spoke and got hit. The scoreboard says discipline. The locker room hears disregard. That's how a policy response becomes a trust problem, when receipts arrive faster than reforms. And it wasn't just about whistles, it was about bodies. Fans watch highlights, players live collisions. When games tilt toward heavy contact with light accountability, injuries stop feeling like bad luck and start feeling like bad governance. You can't market the best in the world and then shrug at nights where chaos runs the fourth quarter. The audience might not know the rulebook by heart, but it knows when a standard is unclear. That gap between feeling and fix is where resentment grows. So when the biggest star enters the chat, the discourse detonates. ________________________
Thank you all for your time today. I have prepared a statement that I would like to make before taking any questions. All right. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Mercury for advancing to the finals. And I want to be clear, this conversation is not about winning or losing. It's about something much bigger, The real threat to our league isn't money, it isn't ratings, or even missed calls, or even physical play. It's the lack of accountability from the league office. Since I've been in the league, you've heard the constant concerns about officiating, and it has now reached levels of inconsistency that plague our sport and undermine the integrity in which it operates.
Collier says she asked the question everyone whispers. If Clark, Angel, and Page drive sellouts and search spikes, why do their first contract checks look small next to the value they generate? Her account. The commissioner told her Clark should be grateful because the W built the platform that powers those endorsements. The commissioner denies it. The internet doesn't arbitrate which memory is right. It just counts which clip spreads. Meanwhile, Clark plays diplomat, valid points. A sentence crafted to acknowledge smoke without pouring accelerant. The debate now has a face, a paycheck, and a clock. And when one voice isn't alone, it stops sounding like a complaint and starts sounding like a case. One post can be charity, a chorus is costly. Elena Del Don says she heard from everyone but the commissioner about her retirement. Lexi Hull says she agrees with everything Collier said. Others echo, and the story shifts from a player is upset to players are aligned. Alignment doesn't trend because of algorithms. It trends because it's rare. When veterans and rising names find the same target, you don't have a subplot. You have a movement. And movements get louder when money is nearby. The W locks in new media windows starting soon. Bigger platform, more inventory, an opportunity to monetize the attention that's actually there. But media money can't paper over ownership math that keeps the W attached to the NBA's gravity well. That's not a conspiracy, it's a structure. With the CBA deadline looming, tone turns into leverage and leverage turns into line items. If players believe they're partners, the room looks one way. If they feel like props, the room looks very different. And while that room negotiates, the stands are delivering their own message.
Well, let me clarify first, because it's proxy season, right? No CEO, do you just put the base pay in there? You put their bonus, you put their stock options, you put everything. Caitlin has the ability to make up to $500,000 just in WNBA wages this year. So, of course, they're just looking at a base which is collectively bargained. And actually, it's low because she's the number one pick. She'll make a little more than that. But she also has millions and millions of dollars of endorsements. She's actually, because she declared to become pro, her endorsements are higher in dollar value. She has a global platform now, not just a U.S. platform. So, she's going to do just fine, as will the top players in the league, as every league does. Also, there's comparisons to the men. Those men's leagues are 75 to 120 years old. We're tipping off our 28th season. I would say if you looked at them 28 seasons in, we're further ahead. But I realize we still have a lot of work to do. And
The league is hot. Record crowds, record attention, a broader mainstream footprint than even optimists predicted. That matters. It means the core product is resonating. Rivalries feel real, storylines convert casuals, and more cities feel like they're hosting an event, not a game. But growth makes inconsistency louder. The same fan who buys a ticket for the spectacle wants a standard for the sport. If the league acts like criticism is disloyal, the audience bails. If it treats criticism like feedback, the audience invests. So what fixes actually move the needle now, not next season? Start where everyone can see progress. Publish the standard. Spell out points of emphasis. Explain advantage/disadvantage logic. Clarify flagrant thresholds. On the misses. Release brief, post-game notes on contentious decisions in marquee windows. Here's what we saw. Here's what we'd change. Raise penalties on dangerous contact. Repeat offenders escalate faster. Player safety is not a marketing line. It's your warranty. Invite players into policy, not PR. Create a standing player committee with voting weight on officiating guidance and player safety rules. Separate heat from hate. Find attacks, not questions. Criticism within professional lines earns conversation, not citations. Align the schedule with recovery. Back-to-backs, travel clusters, and short turnaround windows are a health problem you can actually control. Tie incentives to integrity. Crew-by-crew grading, promotion, and post-season assignments published in aggregate so the community sees improvement. You can't market trust. You build it brick by brick with policies the audience can touch. And yes, this still runs through the league's biggest star. It's not hero worship, it's math. When one player spikes viewership, accelerates inventory sell-through, and lifts social conversion outside of diehard circles, that player becomes the most expensive piece on the board. That doesn't make every whistle a conspiracy. It makes every whistle a business event. If your breakout star feels protected by clear standards and respected by leadership, the league looks modern and confident. If not, it looks brittle and defensive. Protecting stars isn't favoritism. It's product stewardship, the thing every major league on earth does when it understands how attention works. But stars still live in a locker room, and the locker room is the real weather.
At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Cathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. That's a mentality driving our league from the top. We go to battle every day to protect a shield that doesn't value us. The league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them.
A fine says, we're in charge. A fix says, we listened. If the only tool leadership reaches for is disciplinary, players assume you value obedience over solutions. That creates performative compliance, quiet rosters, loud DMs, and a product that looks stable until it suddenly isn't. Flip the script. Reward collaboration. Celebrate process wins, not just highlight wins. When veterans say they felt ignored at milestone moments, acknowledge it specifically and repair it publicly. Apologies don't weaken a front office. Secrecy does. Mean it, and the room changes. Fake it, and the room remembers. Someone is wrong about the words in that private conversation. Maybe memory hardened under anger. Maybe language landed harsher than intended. Maybe it was said. The public will never know with certainty. What the public will know is whether the league's version of do better looks like policy or PR. That's what people remember. Not who won the he said/she said, but who fixed the parts everyone could see. And those parts are visible every night, on every screen. Attention buys windows, partnerships, and better time slots. It also imposes terms, consistency, safety, clarity, and respect. Break those terms and attention becomes a liability. Fans start doom-scrolling clips of confusion instead of highlights of brilliance. The W has the hardest part solved. People care. Don't make them regret it by behaving like scrutiny is betrayal. When someone says, we're further ahead at year 28 than other leagues were, that can be true and insufficient. The audience doesn't grade on a curve, it pays on expectations. So write the next chapter like you expect to be judged in real time.
She's got a $16 million deal because of the platform the WNBA gave her. It is the single dumbest thing ever said by a sports commissioner in American sports.
Whenever athletes have credible off-season options, alternate leagues, exhibitions, equity-driven projects, negotiations stop sounding like pleading and start sounding like planning. That leverage doesn't replace the W, it reshapes it. The smartest front offices treat leverage as a signal. Our best people have places to go. The fix isn't to shrink options, it's to build a home players prefer. Because the offer is fair, the process is adult, and the tone passes the smell test. Handle leverage well, and it becomes loyalty. Handle it poorly, and it becomes a headline. If you want fans to feel the standard, show them the standard. Verticality 101. A 2-minute explainer with 3 real plays that clarifies legal versus illegal contact. Flagrant thresholds, side-by-side clips demonstrating marginal versus excessive force and why the calls diverge. End-game whistles, a compilation of last 2 minutes calls to prove the same rules apply late. Crew accountability, quarterly report cards, aggregate metrics, not public shaming, that show improvement goals and outcomes. These aren't gimmicks, they're receipts. And receipts are how you rebalance a trust ledger. Receipts are also how you protect the people who turn curiosity into culture. A healthy league isn't just one superstar. It's a ladder. Rookies who feel safe leveling up, vets who feel valued telling the truth, and a middle class that isn't stuck as cannon fodder. When the ladder shakes, everyone hugs the floor. Strengthen it. Guarantee minimum recovery windows after high-contact nights. Incentivize continuity. Teams that keep lineups healthy should feel it in call-ups and cap flexibility. Let the competition be ruthless and the structure be humane. That's not softness, that's sustainability. Do that, and the conversation shifts from who said what to who did what. Leagues want narrative control. Players own microphones now. That isn't a threat, it's a reality. The smart way to survive it is to outcompete bad narratives with good processes. When an exit interview drops a charge, make the next 48 hours look boring in the best way. Clear steps, real timelines, named stakeholders, measurable outcomes. Out-deliver the discourse. When you do, even the loudest rumor looks like a trailer for a movie no one needs to see. And when you don't, rumors become sequels. Diehards dissect rotations and referee assignments. Casuals read vibes. Does this league feel professional? That vibe is manufactured in the tiny decisions. How fast you address a dangerous play, whether you pretend a star's injury is part of the game, how you respond when a coach vents. The W can keep every new fan at just one if it treats every new complaint like a chance to prove adulthood. That's the whole trick. Not perfection, proof. Show proof, and the room calms. Hide, and the room hunts. We'll do better. We were better. One is a promise, the other is a report. The commissioner says the first. The players want the second. The gulf between those two sentences is a policy document, a training calendar, a set of calls rewired in the next marquee broadcast. You don't close that gulf with quotes. You close it with choices. Make enough of the right choices, and even the harshest skeptic starts speaking in the past tense. This isn't a story about hating a league. It's a story about wanting it to win. Collier's allegations hurt because they hit the one place you can't protect with marketing, credibility. The commissioner's denial matters because leaders deserve the right to correct the record. Both can be true. The tiebreaker is what changes next. Publish the standard. Protect the bodies. Respect the voices. Treat stars like engines and role players like infrastructure. You already have the audience. Earn the benefit of the doubt. If attention is currency, the W is rich. The question is whether it will spend that wealth on trust. So the next viral sentence isn't an accusation, it's a compliment.